The Promise and the Law. In the year 1959, he began to experience what he called the promise. He later wrote, "I did not know of the promise until I began to experience it and have it unfold within me during that summer and continuing during the next 3.5 years." And this is scriptural. Read it in the book of Daniel, where it is referred to as a time, times, and a half. It comes to 1,260 days in your experience of it. In the latter part of the 1960s and early 70s, Neville gave more emphasis to the promise than to the law. One could use his imaginal power to change one's circumstances, he said, but it would be temporary and vanish like smoke. He went on to explain that the promise superseded the law, claiming that, you can use it, the law, to make a fortune, to become known in the world. All these things are done, but your true promise here is to fulfill Scripture. After subordinating the law to the promise, he became as eager to hear accounts by those who had experienced the promise, and sharing such accounts as he had earlier those of the law. Neville's theological view of the promise includes both the cosmology of union with the Godhead after death and future restoration for those who do not accept the promise during their lives. Of the promise, he said, "You do not earn it. It is a gift. It is all grace. God's promise is unconditional. God's law is conditional, and it comes in its own good time. If you do not experience it in this life," he said, "you pass through a door, and that's all death is, and you are restored to life instantly in a world like this, just this world, and you go on there with the same problems you had here with no loss of identity, not old, not blind, not crippled, if you depart this life that way, but young." In his restorationist afterlife, he said that of people there, they grow and they marry and they die there too, with all the fear of death that we have here. And if they die there without experiencing the promise, they are restored to life again and again in a place best suited to the work yet to be done in them. And it continues until Christ be formed in you. And as sons of the resurrection, you leave this world of death, never to enter it again. In response to questions about the fear of eternal hell and damnation that many have, Neville replied with a quote from Scripture, "Not one shall be lost in all my holy mountain. You are God, and how could God eternally condemn himself?" Until we awaken and make this discovery, he said, we are privileged to use a law given by God to cushion the blows of life. The law, stated succinctly, is this, in Neville's words, imagining creates reality. In the last years of his life, he said, "I know my time is short. I have finished the work I have been sent to do, and I am now eager to depart. I know I will not appear in this three-dimensional world again, for the promise has been fulfilled in me. As for where I go, I will know you there as I have known you here, for we are all brothers, infinitely in love with each other." Neville Goddard died at the age of 67 on October 1, 1972 in Los Angeles. His work is being preserved.